1. A new arrival. Lily Harper hummed a soft tune as she dusted the shelves of the Havenwood Inn, the familiar scent of sea salt wafting through the open windows. The inn, nestled on the edge of the picturesque coastal town of Havenwood, had been in her family for generations. It was a place of comfort and history, where the walls seemed to whisper stories of the past. As she finished her task, she heard the unmistakable sound of a car pulling up the gravel driveway. Glancing out the window, she saw a sleek black car come to a stop. A man stepped out, tall and imposing, with dark hair tousled by the ocean breeze. He paused for a moment, taking in the inn with a discerning gaze. Lily's curiosity was piqued. She straightened her apron and headed to the front door, her heart fluttering with a mix of excitement and apprehension. The inn didn't often see such mysterious arrivals. "Welcome to the Havenwood Inn," she greeted, opening the door with a warm smile. "How can I help you?" The man turned to face her, his intense blue eyes locking onto hers. "I have a reservation." Jack Whitaker. Recognition flashed in Lily's mind. Jack Whitaker, the best-selling author who had taken the literary world by storm with his evocative prose and complex characters. She had read all his books, each one leaving her more captivated than the last. "Mr. Whitaker, it's a pleasure to have you here," Lily said, extending her hand. "I'm Lily Harper, the owner of the inn." "Call me Jack," he replied, shaking her hand with a firm but gentle grip. "I've heard great things about this place. Thought it would be the perfect spot to find some inspiration for my next novel." Lily's smile widened. "We're honored. Let me show you to your room." As they walked through the cozy, sunlit halls, Jack took in the details with an appreciative eye. The inn was a charming blend of old-world elegance and modern comfort, with antique furniture and quaint decor that spoke of its rich history. "This place has character," Jack remarked as they reached his room. "I can see why people are drawn to it." Lily opened the door, revealing a spacious room with a view of the ocean. "I hope you find it comfortable. If you need anything, don't hesitate to ask." "Thank you, Lily," Jack said, setting his suitcase down. "I'm looking forward to exploring Havenwood." Leaving Jack to settle in, Lily returned to the front desk, her mind buzzing with thoughts. Jack Whitaker, here in Havenwood, searching for inspiration. It was the kind of serendipity that she had always believed in but rarely experienced. The day passed in a blur of activity. Guests came and went, the inn bustling with life. But Lily's thoughts kept drifting back to Jack. What kind of story was he hoping to write? And what role, if any, would Havenwood play in it? As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the town in a golden glow, Lily decided to take a walk along the beach. The rhythmic sound of the waves always had a calming effect on her, helping her clear her mind and find her own inspiration. She was lost in thought when she saw Jack standing by the water's edge, a notebook in hand. He seemed deep in concentration, scribbling notes as the waves lapped at his feet. "Mind if I join you?" Lily called out, approaching him. Jack looked up, a hint of a smile playing on his lips. "Not at all. It's a beautiful evening." They walked in companionable silence for a while, the only sounds the gentle crash of waves and the distant call of seagulls. It felt natural, as if they had known each other for much longer than a day. "What brings you to Havenwood?" Jack asked, breaking the silence. Lily glanced at him, surprised by the question. "I've lived here my whole life. The inn has been in my family for generations. It's home." Jack nodded, a thoughtful expression on his face. "It shows. You have a passion for this place. It's grounding." Lily smiled. "And what about you? What kind of inspiration are you looking for?" Jack paused, his gaze fixed on the horizon. "I'm not entirely sure. My last book was a success, but it left me feeling empty. I need something more, something real. I thought maybe a change of scenery would help. Lily's heart went out to him. She understood the pressure of living up to expectations, the fear of losing one's passion. Sometimes, all it takes is a fresh perspective, she said softly. Havenwood has a way of showing people what they need to see. Jack looked at her, his eyes searching hers. I hope you're right. As the sky darkened and the stars began to twinkle, Lily felt a sense of anticipation. Jack Whitaker had come to Havenwood in search of inspiration, but perhaps he would find more than he ever expected. 2. Coastal inspirations. The morning sun filtered through the curtains of Jack's room, casting a warm glow over the wooden floors. Jack stretched and got out of bed, feeling more rested than he had in months. The sound of waves crashing against the shore was a comforting backdrop, a reminder that he was far from the hustle and bustle of city life. After a quick shower, Jack headed downstairs to the inn's dining area, where the aroma of freshly brewed coffee and homemade pastries filled the air. Lily was behind the counter, arranging a plate of scones. Good morning, Jack greeted, smiling as he approached. Lily looked up and returned his smile. Good morning, Jack. I hope you slept well. Better than I have in a long time, Jack admitted. This place has a way of putting you at ease. Lily's eyes sparkled with pride. I'm glad to hear that. Can I get you some breakfast? That would be great, Jack replied, taking a seat at one of the cozy tables by the window. What do you recommend? The blueberry scones are a favorite, Lily said, placing a plate in front of him. And we have a special blend of coffee from a local roaster. Jack took a bite of the scone, savoring the burst of fresh blueberries and the delicate crumb. This is amazing, he said between bites. You could write a book about these scones. Lily laughed, a melodious sound that made Jack's heart skip a beat. I'll leave the writing to you. I'm more comfortable in the kitchen. They chatted about the inn and the town as Jack enjoyed his breakfast. Lily's passion for Havenwood was evident in every word she spoke, and Jack found himself captivated by her stories. After breakfast, Jack decided to take a walk along the beach to clear his mind and gather his thoughts. He had brought his notebook, hoping to jot down some ideas for his new novel. The sand was cool beneath his feet, and the rhythmic sound of the waves provided a soothing soundtrack. He walked for a while, letting his mind wander. The sea had a way of drawing out memories and emotions, and Jack found himself reflecting on his journey as a writer. His success had come quickly, but it had also left him feeling unfulfilled. He wanted to write something meaningful, something that would resonate with readers on a deeper level. As he rounded a bend in the coastline, he saw Lily sitting on a large rock, her hair blowing gently in the breeze. She was sketching something in a notebook, completely absorbed in her work. Mind if I join you? Jack called out, approaching her. Lily looked up, a surprised but pleased expression on her face. Not at all. Have a seat. Jack sat down beside her, glancing at the sketch. It was a detailed drawing of the beach, capturing the movement of the waves and the play of light on the water. You're quite the artist, Jack remarked, impressed. Just a hobby, Lily said modestly, closing her notebook. It's a way for me to relax and connect with nature. I can see why, Jack said, taking out his own notebook. This place is inspiring. They sat in comfortable silence for a while, each lost in their own thoughts. Jack found himself scribbling down ideas, snippets of dialogue, and fragments of scenes. The story he had been struggling to find was beginning to take shape, and he felt a spark of excitement. Do you ever write? Jack asked suddenly, curious about Lily's creative pursuits. Lily shook her head. I've always loved stories, but I've never tried writing one. I guess I prefer to experience them through other people's words. Everyone has a story to tell, Jack said thoughtfully. Sometimes it's just a matter of finding the right way to tell it. Lily looked at him, her eyes thoughtful. Maybe you're right. I've always felt that this town has its own story, one that's waiting to be told. Then maybe we can tell it together, Jack suggested, the idea forming in his mind. You know this place better than anyone. You could help me capture its essence. Lily's eyes widened in surprise. You want my help? Why not? Jack said with a grin. Two heads are better than one. Besides, I think your perspective could add something special to the story. Lily considered this for a moment, then nodded. All right. I'll help you. But only if you promise to include the part about the haunted lighthouse. Jack laughed. Deal. But you'll have to give me all the details. As they made their way back to the inn, Jack felt a renewed sense of purpose. The story he had been searching for was right in front of him, waiting to be discovered in the heart of Havenwood and the people who called it home. And with Lily by his side, he knew that this would be the most meaningful story he had ever written. 3. Secrets of the Sea. The next few days passed in a blur of exploration and creativity for Jack and Lily. They spent their mornings walking along the beach, afternoons in the cozy corners of the Havenwood Inn, and evenings under the starlit sky, sharing stories and ideas. Jack was captivated by the town's rich history and the secrets it seemed to hold, and Lily's passion for Havenwood only deepened his fascination. One afternoon, Lily suggested they visit the old Havenwood Lighthouse, a local landmark that had stood sentinel over the coast for over a century. The lighthouse was rumored to be haunted, and its history was steeped in mystery and tragedy. As they walked along the winding path that led to the lighthouse, Lily shared the tale that had been passed down through generations. The lighthouse keeper, Thomas, fell in love with a beautiful woman named Eleanor. They were planning to marry, but one stormy night, Eleanor's ship was lost at sea. Heartbroken, Thomas kept the light burning every night, hoping she would return. Some say his spirit still watches over the sea, waiting for her. Jack listened intently, his writer's mind already weaving the story into his novel. Do people really believe the lighthouse is haunted? Lily smiled. Some do. There have been reports of strange lights and sounds, and a few locals claim to have seen Thomas's ghost. Whether you believe it or not, it adds to the charm and mystery of the place. When they reached the lighthouse, Jack was struck by its stark beauty. The white tower stood tall against the blue sky, its light still flashing in a rhythmic pattern. The air was thick with the scent of salt and the distant cry of seagulls. Lily led him inside, where the walls were lined with old photographs and artifacts. Jack could almost feel the weight of history pressing down on him. This place has so much character, he remarked, running his fingers over a weathered photograph of Thomas and Eleanor. Lily nodded. It's one of my favorite spots. Whenever I need inspiration or a moment of peace, I come here. They climbed the narrow staircase to the top of the lighthouse, where a panoramic view of the coastline stretched out before them. Jack took a deep breath, feeling the wind whip through his hair. It's incredible up here. Lily stood beside him, her gaze fixed on the horizon. I always feel like I'm on top of the world when I'm here. It's a reminder that no matter what happens, there's always a new day, a new horizon. Jack turned to her, a sudden realization dawning. Lily, what's your story? You've lived in Havenwood your whole life, but there's so much I don't know about you. Lily hesitated, then sighed. I suppose it's only fair. You've shared so much with me. She took a deep breath, as if summoning the courage to reveal a part of herself she rarely shared. My parents died when I was young. I was raised by my grandparents, who ran the inn before me. They taught me everything I know about hospitality and the importance of community. Jack listened, his heart aching for her. That must have been difficult. It was, Lily admitted. But this town became my family. The people here took care of me, and in return, I take care of them. Running the inn is my way of giving back. Jack reached out, gently taking her hand. You're an incredible person, Lily. Havenwood is lucky to have you. Lily looked at him, her eyes shimmering with emotion. Thank you, Jack. That means a lot to me. They stood in silence for a moment, the weight of their shared histories binding them together. Jack felt a deep sense of connection to Lily, a bond that went beyond mere friendship. As they made their way back down the lighthouse, Jack's mind was racing with ideas. The story he wanted to write was becoming clearer with each passing day, and Lily was at the heart of it. She was his muse, his inspiration. That evening, back at the inn, Jack found himself unable to sleep. He got out of bed, grabbed his notebook, and headed to the common room. To his surprise, he found Lily there, curled up on the sofa with a book. Couldn't sleep either, he asked, sitting down beside her. Lily smiled. I guess we're both night owls. Jack hesitated, then said, Lily, I've been thinking a lot about our conversations, about this town and its stories. I want to write about Havenwood, but I also want to write about you. About us. Lily looked at him, her eyes wide with surprise. About us? Yes, Jack said, his voice earnest. You've inspired me in ways I never expected. This place, these people, and you, it's all part of the story I need to tell. Lily was silent for a moment, then she nodded. All right, Jack. Let's tell this story together. They spent the rest of the night talking, sharing their dreams and fears, their hopes and desires. Jack felt a sense of fulfillment he had never known before. He wasn't just writing a novel, he was living it, and Lily was the heart of his story. As dawn broke over Havenwood, Jack and Lily sat together, watching the first light of day chase away the shadows of the night. It was a new beginning, a promise of what was to come. And in that moment, Jack knew that the secrets of the sea had led him to the greatest treasure of all, love. 4. Stormy waters. The days following their heartfelt night in the common room were filled with an electric sense of purpose for Jack and Lily. Together, they explored every nook and cranny of Havenwood, from the ancient oak tree that stood as a silent guardian over the town square to the hidden coves where the sea whispered its eternal secrets. Jack's novel began to take shape, each chapter infused with the essence of Havenwood and the soul of its people. Lily's insights and stories brought a richness to the narrative that Jack had never achieved before. They spent countless hours in the inn's cozy parlor, their heads bent over notebooks and laptops, the crackling fireplace casting a warm glow over their collaboration. But as with any journey worth taking, their path was not without obstacles. One afternoon, as dark clouds gathered on the horizon, Jack received a call from his publisher. The deadline for his novel had been moved up unexpectedly, leaving him with only a few weeks to complete the manuscript. The pressure weighed heavily on him, and the tension began to seep into his relationship with Lily. I just don't understand why they're rushing this, Jack said, pacing the room. It's impossible to finish the book to the standard I want in that time. Lily watched him, her brow furrowed with concern. We'll figure it out, Jack. Maybe if we... I don't need we right now, Jack snapped, his frustration boiling over. I need time. Space. This is my responsibility, my career. Lily recoiled as if she had been struck. Hurt flashed in her eyes, quickly masked by a steely resolve. Fine. If that's what you need, I'll give you space. She turned and walked out of the room, leaving Jack to stew in his frustration. The door closed with a definitive thud, and Jack was left alone with the storm brewing outside and the one raging within him. The following days were tense and strained. Lily kept her distance, focusing on the inn and avoiding Jack as much as possible. Jack threw himself into his work, but without Lily's warmth and insight, the words felt hollow and lifeless. One evening, as the storm outside reached its peak, Jack found himself at a standstill. He stared at his laptop screen, the blinking cursor mocking him with its incessant rhythm. With a groan of frustration, he slammed the laptop shut and headed downstairs. The inn was quiet, the usual hum of activity muted by the howling wind and driving rain. Jack found Lily in the kitchen, methodically chopping vegetables for the evening meal. She looked up briefly as he entered, her expression unreadable. "Lily, we need to talk," Jack said, his voice barely audible over the storm. "There's nothing to talk about," Lily replied coolly, her knife continuing its steady rhythm. "Please," Jack said, stepping closer. "I'm sorry for what I said. I was frustrated and took it out on you, and that wasn't fair." Lily paused, setting the knife down and turning to face him. "You made it clear that you wanted space, Jack. I was just giving you what you asked for." "I was wrong," Jack admitted, his shoulders slumping. "I need you, Lily. Not just for the book, but for everything. You've become so much more than just a part of this story." Lily's eyes softened, but she remained guarded. "Jack, I understand the pressure you're under. But shutting me out isn't the answer. We're in this together, or we're not in it at all." Jack took a deep breath, the weight of his actions settling over him. "I know. And I'm sorry. Can we start over?" Lily studied him for a moment, then nodded. "All right. But we need to be honest with each other, Jack. No more shutting me out." "I promise," Jack said, relief flooding through him. "No more shutting you out." As they stood together in the kitchen, the storm outside began to subside, the wind and rain gradually giving way to a peaceful stillness. It was a fitting metaphor for the turmoil they had weathered and the calm they were working towards. Over the next few days, Jack and Lily found a new rhythm. They balanced the demands of the inn and the pressures of the book, supporting each other through the challenges they faced. Jack's writing regained its spark, fueled by Lily's unwavering support and the deepening connection between them. One evening, as they sat together on the porch, watching the sunset over the horizon, Jack took Lily's hand in his. "Thank you for standing by me," he said softly. Lily squeezed his hand gently. "We're a team, Jack. No storm is going to change that." Jack smiled, his heart swelling with gratitude and love. "I couldn't do this without you." Lily leaned her head on his shoulder, contentment washing over her. "And you won't have to." As the last rays of sunlight dipped below the horizon, Jack and Lily knew that they had emerged stronger from the storm. Their bond had been tested and had withstood the tempest, leaving them ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. 5. Writing the stars. As summer turned to autumn, the Havenwood Inn was abuzz with the vibrant colors of the changing leaves and the crisp, invigorating air. Jack and Lily had found their stride, their partnership blossoming into something deeper and more profound than either had anticipated. Jack's novel was nearing completion, each chapter a testament to the stories and secrets of Havenwood. Lily's influence was woven throughout the narrative, her insights and experiences giving the tale a richness and authenticity that Jack had long sought. One evening, as the sun set in a blaze of orange and gold, Jack and Lily sat on the porch, a gentle breeze carrying the scent of the sea. Jack had his notebook open, scribbling down the final scenes of his book, while Lily sketched the sunset, her pencil capturing the ethereal beauty of the moment. "Lily," Jack said, breaking the comfortable silence, "I've been thinking a lot about our story." "Our story?" Lily looked up, her eyes meeting his. "Yes," Jack said, setting his notebook aside. You've been such an integral part of this book, and I realize now that it's as much your story as it is mine. Lily blushed, a smile tugging at her lips. I've enjoyed being a part of it, Jack. It's been a journey I never expected. Jack took her hand, his gaze earnest. I don't want this journey to end, Lily. I want to keep writing our story, together. Lily's heart skipped a beat. What are you saying, Jack? I'm saying that I've fallen in love with you, Jack said, his voice filled with emotion. I want to build a future with you, here in Havenwood. I want to write our story in the stars. Tears welled up in Lily's eyes as she squeezed his hand. Jack, I've fallen in love with you too. You've brought so much joy and inspiration into my life. I can't imagine a future without you. Jack leaned in, capturing her lips in a tender kiss. It was a promise, a declaration of the love and dreams they shared. As they pulled away, Jack felt a sense of completeness he had never known before. I have something for you, Jack said, reaching into his pocket and pulling out a small velvet box. Lily's eyes widened as he opened the box to reveal a delicate silver necklace with a star-shaped pendant. It's beautiful, Jack. It's a reminder, Jack said, fastening the necklace around her neck. A reminder that no matter what happens, we'll always have our story written in the stars. Lily touched the pendant, her eyes shining with love. Thank you, Jack. I'll cherish it always. As the stars began to twinkle in the evening sky, Jack and Lily sat together, their hearts intertwined. They talked about their dreams, their hopes, and the future they wanted to build together. I've been thinking about the inn, Lily said thoughtfully. It's been such a big part of my life, and I want to keep it going. But I also want to expand, maybe open a small bookshop and cafe. A place where people can come to find inspiration, just like you did. Jack's eyes lit up. That's a wonderful idea, Lily. And I'd love to help you make it happen. They spent the rest of the evening brainstorming, their excitement growing with each idea. Jack's novel was just the beginning. Together, they would create a haven of creativity and love in Havenwood. As the night grew late and the stars shone brightly overhead, Jack and Lily knew that their journey was only just beginning. They had found each other, and in doing so, had discovered the power of love and inspiration. The next morning, Jack submitted the final manuscript to his publisher. It was a story of love, resilience, and the magic of a small coastal town. But more than that, it was a story of two people who had found each other and built a life together, writing their own destiny in the stars. Weeks later, as the first copies of Jack's novel arrived at the inn, they celebrated with the townsfolk who had become their extended family. The book was a testament to Havenwood and the love that had blossomed there. As the town gathered to celebrate, Jack stood with Lily by his side, his heart full of gratitude and joy. Thank you, everyone, he said, addressing the crowd. This book wouldn't have been possible without your stories, your support, and most importantly, without Lily. Lily blushed as the crowd cheered, her heart swelling with pride and love. And to Lily, Jack continued, taking her hand, thank you for being my inspiration, my partner, and my love. Here's to many more stories written together. The crowd erupted in applause as Jack and Lily shared a kiss, the stars above bearing witness to their love. And so, in the quaint coastal town of Havenwood, a new chapter began. A chapter filled with love, dreams, and stories waiting to be written. For Jack and Lily, their story was just beginning, a tale of love and inspiration, written in the stars.